Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk a little bit about our squash patch. We do experiments every year here on the old homestead, and look, we got a little bunny right here. One of the things that I've noticed when you bring in a lot of varieties of life, things, plants, and maximizing photosynthesis, you get lots of things come into your garden. Luckily, all of our crops are, for the most part, covered, and the rabbits like, so yeah, he's welcome. All the animals are welcome. So every year we do some experiments, and one year in this area that's probably about 1,000 square feet or so, we grew oats. You can actually check out that video. I'll link below. But this year we decided we wanted to try to kind of, push our squash game here a bit. We really wanted to try to produce as much as we could. But on top of that, we like F1 varieties. We like things that produce very, very quickly. So this is basically, there's 7 varieties here of Maxima. And some of them have long seasons, some of them have short. But basically I'm looking at creating kind of an F1 swarm. Only we don't have a lot of native pollinators in our environment for squash. So basically what I do is I have a map, and the map tells me which squash are which, and I go in and I pull one from a short season squash, and I use it to pollinate a long season squash. So I'm going to get F1s pretty much through the whole swarm. And next year then basically I'll start monitoring, for ones that have really short season growth, and that's one of the attributes that we'll choose when we decide that we're going to keep seed for the next year. So we kind of keep doing that and choosing attributes that we like. But what I want to talk about today is how easy this is. So this was our original squash patch. It's actually a bed that was formed, and then we just plant directly into the bed. But like I said, this was just the lawn, and you can see there's a little bit of everything in this lawn. I'm big into polycultures when it comes to lawns. We got white clover, red clover, Timothy hay, there's yarrow here. I mean, there's a little bit of everything, and all of it attracts pollinators, but I'm not sure that they attract the right pollinators for squash. I'm pretty sure our yields would be pretty low if we didn't intervene. But you can look at the squash. They're all flowering, nice and green, and getting big and happy. It's been a beautiful July for it. And they're starting to vine through each other, which is what I want. So the question is how do you do this? Well, it's really, really simple. In June, before the grass gets too high, basically what I did was I made a mound every 4 feet, and then the next row was offset about 5 to 6 feet, and then I plant these squashed in on diagonals with respect to the ones in the row before. So here there's about 34 squash in this area, so potential for a huge amount of squash. But how you do it is really, really simple. And for those of you that have never heard of Ruth Stout, you should look it up. So in the Ruth Stout method, basically it's a sheet mulching method, whereby you use some sort of sheet mulch. In this case, in Ruth Stout method, they use hay. This is hay. And basically the hay is used to sheet mulch the ground. And if you sheet mulch the ground and you keep adding layers, it builds up fertility as the hay rots back. It's one thing. It keeps weeds from growing, which is another thing we want, because we don't want weeds robbing the fertility from our squash. I'm going to move out of the sun there. And basically then, you get these rows where you got very low weed pressure, and the squash is really able to take off. And if you look under it, so let's look under it. Yeah, I mean, everything on the ground is completely dead. So all of that vegetative matter, which was green, is now fertilizer. It's now green matter for this. So the mounds themselves that I formed here, I did break up the sod a little bit. Generally speaking, we're no-till, but we did do a little bit of tillage, but it was more or less just turn the tiller on, dip it down, break up the sod a bit so we could amend the soil with some compost. And to tell you the truth, I used some methods from a channel, David the Good, Survival Gardener, I believe is the name of it. And in his channel, he talks about composting everything. And one of the methods that I employed is something that he uses, which is basically just bury a bunch of green matter. So we had a bunch of stuff left over in the freezer, fennel and cabbage leaves and fava beans and those things. So they're actually buried under these, and the soil life would just take care of turning it into something useful for the squash. So it's a pretty simple method, and not sure about yields right yet, but it looks like the squash are happy, and ultimately that usually leads to good yields. So simple method, Ruth Stout, basically sheet mulching an area that was once alive with weeds or whatever, and in essence planting on top of it. In this case it wasn't quite like that, because like I said, it was a lawn, and we tilled just in the area where squash is so we can mound the dirt up with some compost. You know, dig a hole in that area, put a bunch of you know, old organic matter down in it from our freezer, and you end up with a squash patch. So you can magically turn a lawn into a very productive area for squash. And we're a big proponent of squash for a lot of people, mainly because squash doesn't really require really crazy storage conditions. Like, you don't need to have a cellar for it. It can get by quite well in a side porch that's 10 degrees for the whole winter. So it's a great food in terms of storage capabilities and whatnot. And as long as you get them going really early and the growth conditions are good, here in Newfoundland, at least in our context, we can get good yields out of them before the end of September, which of course the other thing, you know, we have a short season. Maxima squashes tend to take longer. Some of them are really long, like the Hubbards. But using this method that we're talking about here, we're hoping to create kind of a seed variety that'll have a whole lot of variation, and most will be basically F1s with lots of vigor. So anyway, that's a way to turn a lawn into a very productive space. Anyway, if you want to try that, a little late this year, I'm not sure you'll get much out of it, but next year you could be quite successful. I'll do a follow-up video of this now in the fall, just to see what the yields were like, and let you guys know. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Like, please, if you can, and subscribe to the channel, and we're going to try to get some more videos out. Thanks for watching. See ya.